Do you ever feel like your back is puffy, stiff, maybe that it's holding onto fluid? Well, it's because it might be. Most of the time, people don't think that lymphatic fluid can build up on their backside, but it absolutely can. And the reason we don't think about it is because most people don't talk about it. When we talk about lymphatic congestion, we're pretty much talking about like the big things that we can see on the front, right? Like our face, hands, feet. So the back side of us tends to get ignored. Well, in this video, I'm going to talk to you about where does the fluid drain, some exercises you can do to help drain that lymphatic fluid from your back, and then where you move that fluid to. Now, before we dive in, if you're new here, I'm Dr. Czezowski. I am a certified functional medicine practitioner, and I have been literally doing lymphatic drainage since 2010. If you want more information, you can check out some of my other videos where I go into a little bit more detail. But I want to dive into this topic because it is really important. And actually, one of my viewers asked me to specifically talk about this because I bet you there's a lot of people out there who think that, oh gosh, I just have a muffin top. I just have excess back fat. I have it's fat accumulation when it might not be. Not saying that it's not part of it, but it could be that you have stagnant lymphatic fluid being stuck in your back, causing potentially the bulge over our pants or the bulge in and around our bras, or if we wear tight clothing. Now, why don't we talk about the back drainage? Well, because guess what? It all has to drain to the front anyway, meaning we have to move all of that fluid to the front of us. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in my poster in just a second. But keep in mind, all of our lymphatic fluid has to drain above our collarbones. So above our clavicles at the termini, all of it, everything from our head to our toes. And that includes the fluid coming from our backside. So what does this look like? When we're looking at, lymphatic drainage, let's take a look at my poster. So you can see here's the front side, and you can see that there's a line going straight down the front of our body. So I want you to imagine you have divided your body into a right and left side, okay? Perfect. Then what I want you to do is I want you to cut your body in half right above your belly button. So now you technically have 4 quadrants in your abdominal region, and you can see that right here, okay? 4 quadrants. Those same quadrants follow all the way around the backside. So we have those same 4 quadrants on the backside, which means those quadrants that drain lymphatic fluid, let's say from our left chest, is going to drain the same fluid from the left back, so our shoulder blade, to our spine. So you can see here that we ultimately have to know where the fluid moves in order to drain it. Now the back is a little bit more difficult because it's a little harder to reach, right? It's a little harder to reach some of the areas. So what can really help is having somebody do it for you, or having a dry brush with a long handle. So having that long handle can allow you to reach in other areas that you might not have been able to reach. Now, we're going to break this up. So let's go through this, and I'm ultimately going to tell you which quadrant it drains and how you're going to drain it. And then let's talk about some exercises so that you can ensure that your lymphatic fluid is going to drain. So first off, we always clear the specific 7. Always. When you clear the specific 7, you're ultimately opening up the major lymph nodes for most of your lymphatic fluid to be able to drain into. Super cool. That's why it's the specific 7. Specifically because that's what we got to open in order for lymphatic drainage to happen. So when you open up the specific 7, you're going to be doing, termini, tonsillar, apical, armpit, sternochyli, groin, and knee. The back is ultimately going to drain into those nodes. So let's talk about the back. So remember, I want you to picture that you have that line coming down your body. So you have that line coming down your body, and we're cutting us in half like this. Let's talk about the right side. So the right side means it's going to take the right breast or chest up to the sternum, down the rib cage to essentially the bottom of your rib cage, because the bottom of your rib cage pretty much hits your belly button for the most part, okay? So all of that, and then around the backside, meaning your shoulder blade to your spine, from your spine all the way over, is going to drain into that armpit. So that means you have to pull that fluid around and bringing it over to the side and then up into the armpit. The same thing happens on the left side. So the left side is going to drain, so the left armpit's going to drain your left chest, left rib cage, and that rib cage follows all the way around the back to your spine. And you're ultimately going to just be bringing that fluid around to the side and then up into your armpit. So the top part of our back drains into our armpits. Easy enough, right? Except for the whole reaching part. That's the harder part. That's where having a dry brush with a long handle can really be beneficial. The lower part of our back is going to drain into our groin. So that means that we are going to ultimately bring the fluid around, and then instead of bringing it up, we're bringing it down into our groin lymph nodes. Now that's really important because you're like, wait a minute, I thought we always move the fluid up. Yeah, for the most part. But our body is tricky and it doesn't always move up. Sometimes it has to move down before it can move up. So the fluid from below our belly button has to go into the thoracic duct, which means it has to go into the groin lymph nodes first. So you're going to bring the fluid from your lower back around and then down into the groin. So that's how you manually clear the lymphatic fluid from your back. Now, with that being said, let's talk about some things that you can do to make it easier to try and avoid fluid from building up in your back in the first place. Okay, first things first, proper posture. So important. So important. When we are sitting and our shoulders are up and rounded and we're working at a computer and everything is tense, remember, tense muscles are going to prevent proper fluid from draining or proper lymphatic fluid drainage ultimately. So we got to try and have a nice open posture. So some of the things that we're going to need to do is one, open up and stretch out our pecs. Why? That's going to allow our shoulders to come back and down. So some of the things that I really try and focus on, and one of the things that, I get complimented on all the time because I've been working at it, is my posture. I sit up nice and tall. So one of the things that helps me to sit up nice and tall is I think about taking my shoulder blades, these right here. And what I want to do is I want to think about taking them and tucking them into back pockets of jeans. So I pretend that I'm wearing jeans with pockets. Rarely will you see me wearing jeans, FYI. Normally I'm in loose, active wear kind of clothing for the most part. Sometimes I wear leggings, don't get me wrong, but I pretend that I have pockets. And what I do is I take my shoulders, I bring them up, I roll them back, and I bring them down. Now you can see when I do that, I am not doing this, meaning I am not sticking my chest out. I'm not trying to squeeze my shoulder blades together. I'm not doing a row and squeezing my shoulder blades together. That's not how I'm sitting, okay? That is not proper posture. It's simply taking our shoulders from where they are, from being tight with the pecs, working on the computer, to bringing them up, down, and around. That is going to help loosen things up here, which is then going to help loosen the muscles in the back. Okay, that's the first thing. So posture is the first thing. The second thing that I'm going to have you do are some different exercises. So anything that you can do to think about contracting the muscles in your back is going to help drain lymphatic fluid. So some examples would be pull-ups, push-ups. It could be things like rows. Okay. Anything that you're doing, or even side bends with a weight or no weight, whatever you want to do. But ultimately, what you want to think about doing is contracting the muscles in your back. So some simple things you can do at your desk is this. This is what I'll do if I'm sitting a whole lot. I'll have my hands up and I will bring my elbows down and then up, down and then up. And what I'm doing is I'm pumping the muscles, but I'm also having my shoulder blades move up and down and in and out by doing this kind of movement. Now, what that's going to do is it's going to help clear some of the fluid in and around our shoulder blades, which can be really beneficial, especially if we wear bras or, anything tight in and around the rib cage that can prevent proper drainage. Planks are also a really good thing. Some other seated things that you can do are just simple side bends. So you can just simply bend from the side, because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be contracting the side, which will help some of the fluid in the back. You can do twists and make sure that you have good mobility. So moving is going to be super, super important, but knowing where the fluid drains is also very important. I hope this was helpful. And if you want access to my posters to download and print them off, you can purchase them, and we'll put the link below. They're super easy, and you can ultimately put them up. Like most of my one-on-one clients and my academy members have them in their bathroom so that, like as they're doing whatever they're doing, it's just a reminder of, hey, I can do some lymphatic drainage, while I'm doing XYZ. Because habit stacking is the way for success because of consistency. Thanks for your comments. And if you have questions, you can put them below. And if there's enough interest, I'll be sure to do some videos of your topic of choice. Thanks for being here, and happy draining.